When looking at charts, most of us in crypto tend to focus on shorter time frames. I'm talking really short. Here's a ridiculous 5-minute chart of Bitcoin. And if you want to go full degen, here is a 1-second chart of Bitcoin. And it's apparently not doing very well at the moment. So let's go back to the regular program. We often use these charts to declare to our spouse that Bitcoin is going to zero and to cancel the vacation to Bali next month. Then a few seconds later, just as you're about to submit an obituary declaring Bitcoin dead for the 478th time right here, then you're browsing yachtworld.com looking for a new yacht and telling your wife to make reservations at the most expensive restaurant in town because Bitcoin is headed to the moon. I know you know what I'm talking about. There's an expression in the cryptoverse that says, when in doubt, zoom out. And there's a reason for that. Short time frame charts are only good for two things: active traders and driving yourself and your spouse completely crazy. Longer term charts like the 4-hour chart, the daily chart, the weekly or monthly charts are the most powerful ways to spot trends and perform technical analysis. Longer time frames simply get rid of all the noise and chaos, leaving nothing but a blank analytical canvas. They're both peaceful and powerful. I'd recommend you try to stick to time frames no shorter than an hour, but you do you. In today's video, we're going to analyze the longer term Bitcoin charts to see if we can spot any trends, and then use those trends to create the single greatest price prediction of all time for this Bitcoin bull market. If that sounds good, let's get to it. None of what I tell you today is investing or financial advice. You need to do your own research and make your own decisions with regard to your finances. Let's go ahead and start with the 1-year Bitcoin chart, zoomed way out. All right, here we are at the 1-year chart. And right away, do you notice any kind of repeating pattern? For instance, in the color of the candles. Green is up, red is down. So if you look at this pattern carefully, we can ignore these, and we have 3 green, 1 red, 3 green, 1 red, 3 green, 1 red, 2 green, and then this is where we are right now. So maybe one can expect another green one right here, and hopefully a bigger green one here. That would be amazing. This one was pretty big. This one was huge. That's the 3rd year. That's the 3rd year. So maybe next year, 2025, will be amazing. So this is a great way to pick up on sort of overall market trends. So it seems to be 3 up years followed by 1 down year. But this isn't very granular. So let's go ahead and look at the 1-month chart. Here we are at the 1-month chart of Bitcoin, starting back in 2010 and going to 2024, where we are today. And now we're starting to see some trends. Again, we've got a red year and 3 green years, and a red year and 3 green years. But you can see that there's more nuance to the chart. The green years aren't straight up, straight up, straight up. They're up and down, up and down, up and down. But I don't know if you'll notice this sweeping pattern that seems to repeat over and over. That is important, and it seems to be repeating, so it's something that potentially we can expect to repeat in the future. So that's a pattern that we could potentially analyze to predict, or try to predict, the behavior of the Bitcoin price in the future. So let's go ahead and zoom in one more step to the weekly chart and see if we can see more about this pattern. Okay, here we are at the weekly chart, zoomed way out, so each weekly bar is very, very small. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to show you that the sweeping pattern is still maintained, but it's kind of broken up a little bit as you get a little more tight with the time frame. Another trend I'm noticing with the Bitcoin price over the years since its first launch is that there's this pattern that kind of sweeps up and is sort of flattening out a bit. That is called a logarithmic growth curve, and I have some lines pre-drawn that I can fit to that and show you what that looks like. So I've taken these logarithmic growth curves and I've fit them to the Bitcoin price as well as I could and extended them forward to 2028. Now, you can put these curves pretty much wherever you want. You could put it down here, having the top range of the Bitcoin price in 2028 being a mere 106,000, which doesn't sound very positive, but I suppose somebody could calculate that. It tends to, the curve hits here, the curve hits here, 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 and theoretically that would be the most accurate. So the price potentially could wiggle itself in between these curves and end up at, 80,000 in 2028. I actually don't think that's the case. I think it's actually going to be more of a ceiling or a taller ceiling like this, and then the floor is going to stay something like this, giving us a range in the future, potentially, of course, from 1.8 million in 2028 to 80,000. Now, this sort of mimics what's called a rainbow chart, and you can find that all over the internet. And this is just sort of my version of that. I fit these curves to this Bitcoin price chart. This is a logarithmic growth curve on a logarithmic chart. So that's that. Okay, I got rid of the logarithmic growth curves. Are there any other patterns we can see? Yes, we can see this sweeping pattern that tends to reoccur during the 4-year Bitcoin cycle with 1 down year and 3 up years. But let's take a look and dive into that sweeping pattern and see if there's any more nuance to it. Now, this chart sweeping pattern or price chart sweeping pattern doesn't really mature until the 2016-2017 bull run, and then it repeats with some ups and downs, but the one we're in right now seems to be nice and clean, similar to the 2016-2017 bull run. Hopefully, it will perform just as well. I'm going to ignore this area, and let's go ahead and look a little deeper, a little closer at the 2016-2017 bull run to see if we can discover some more details about that sweeping pattern. Here we are in the 2014 to 2016 region of the Bitcoin price chart. And again, this is a close-up of this sweeping pattern that we keep repeating. And if you look carefully, the pattern kind of goes across with a really strong correction on the right side of that pattern before continuing on. And this one is really clean. Some of the other time frames are not as clean as this, but there's a sweep and then a really strong correction. And that pattern kind of looks like a cup with a handle. And that's exactly what it's called. It's called a cup and handle continuation pattern. And it's one of the strongest, most predictive patterns that you can see on a stock or Bitcoin cryptocurrency price chart. It is really powerful. And when you see that, you can fairly confidently predict where the price of the stock is going to go. So let's go ahead and do that and draw that out. I have some pre-made shapes tucked away above this chart, which I'm going to pull down and put into place just to save some time on this analysis. So this is the cup section, this is the handle, and then these are some analytical tools, and I'll show you how they work. So let's go ahead and drag these down into place, and we'll put them in the appropriate area. There's the cup from 2014 to 2016. That's a 2-year cup. And here is the handle. I'm going to go ahead and drag that down as well. And there is the handle, which tends to be a parallel channel, not a scoop. So the price behavior of this handle part fits neatly right in this little parallel channel that I've developed. And what you can do is you can measure the depth of this cup from the top, and that is the potential price target for this chart pattern. So let's go ahead and grab those other 2 parts. We've got the depth and we've got the top of the cup. This bar is the top of the cup, which you measure not from the left side, but from the right side. And then you take a perpendicular off of that and drop to the deepest part on the cup. And that is right here. And then you use that depth to develop a prediction for the price coming out of this cup and handle chart pattern. And that would be right here. Now, if we didn't have this price information here and we were looking at this cup and handle pattern, one would say that there's a potential for the Bitcoin price to reach this mark, which is $3,691. Wouldn't that be nice to have a $3,000 Bitcoin, at least for the potential purchase of it? So we're going to go ahead and leave that there. And indeed, Bitcoin performed exactly as predicted. Came right out of that cup and handle and went past 3,000 all the way up to 20,000. Now, here's the second area where there is a sweeping pattern. It's not as clean, but I have drawn out some cup and handle patterns here as well. Here's the cup, and you'll notice it's not so clean as the last one. So I'm going to put it right here. And then this area is the handle, in which I have drawn out right here. I'm going to bring that down and put that in place. And there you go. There's your cup and there's your handle. This is the top of the cup. And you're going to measure from the top of the cup down to the deepest part. So let's go ahead and grab those pre-made parts. That right there. And then we're going to take the depth of the cup, make sure to confirm that right here. Yes, that's the deepest part. And then we're going to put that on the top, and that's our potential price target coming out of this cup and handle pattern. And the top is 64,000. And indeed, Bitcoin behaved exactly as predicted, right out of that cup and handle pattern up to $64,000. Literally the exact same number. That is pretty incredible. Look at that and look at that. It then went on later to top that and get to 69,000, but that is pretty crazy. Now, here we go. This is our current cup and handle pattern, and I'm going to do the same analysis on the current Bitcoin price and see what a potential target could be. Are you ready for that? All right, let's do this. Here's our cup and our depth. Go ahead and bring these down. There we go. There's the cup. There's the handle. And I don't have the top mark, so I'm going to do it right here, approximately. And then we're going to put this at the perpendicular to the height. Let's extend that top margin over and see if this is the correct length. Yes. So that is the deepest part of the cup. And we're going to use that to predict a potential price target for this cup and handle pattern. Now, that's not the top of the bull run, most likely or hopefully, but in last cycle, it was the exact top. So we'll see how this plays out. And if you make that parallel, put that up here, the top of this cup and handle pattern predicts a price movement to $330,000. That is amazing. And I hope that that prediction holds true. So that is my prediction for the 2024-2025 Bitcoin bull run, $330,000, based on the analysis, the rigorous technical analysis of this cup and handle pattern that we are forming right now. And if you look really carefully, actually trying to break out of it right here. So keep your fingers crossed and let's get set to make the down payment on the beach house in Cabo when Bitcoin gets to 330,000. That's it for today. Let's go Bitcoin. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your price prediction is for this bull run in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.